In this episode, we look at what happens when things go wrong with a preserved bus. What can you do? Hello and welcome. Now, with these videos that I do on YouTube, quite often we look at the highs as well as the lows of bus preservation and owning buses. For probably every 10 good times that you have with a bus, you'll probably have about 2 or 3 bad times where things go wrong, where you try and fix something and it goes even further wrong, it breaks, something goes awry somewhere. They're not overly complicated vehicles to look after, but they can be incredibly stubborn. So if you watched the video of when I took 309 out for a little run around the block, you would have seen that it's a low floor mini pointer dart. And I was talking about what it's like to own vehicles like this. When I did that video, I thought, oh, what would be nice would be to take it for a little spin around the island with Melissa. Now, Melissa is also a bus driver as well. She's not a bus driver by trade, but she has a license. And she was really looking forward to having a go at driving this because it's nice and light. It's almost car-like to drive. It hasn't got the heavy steering or the gears that Perky has or the gears that Leo has. So we were going to take it to Yarmouth and we were going to go along the military road up to Blackgang, and you were going to come too. But something happened. And this is where I do try and put on my sincere Janet Ellis face when she was talking about the Blue Peter Garden being trashed all those years ago. So as you can see, 309 is not in a good way. Now don't worry, nobody was hurt. It's nothing that can't be fixed. It's just one of those annoying accidents, those annoying shunts that happens every so often. She was reversed into in the yard here by a large vehicle, and fiberglass is all damaged and pushed in. Both the windscreens are broken and the spindle on the wiper is broken. Now, the company that owned the vehicle are being really good about it. It's all going through the insurance because, believe it or not, the vehicle that reversed into it is only a few months old. But this just goes to show you the sort of thing that can happen when you least expect it. And the ironic thing was that 309 wasn't actually going anywhere. She was just sitting here minding her own business. So for the foreseeable future, she's going to be off the road. Well, at least until the insurance company can get it all sorted out. Now, the only problem with going through the insurance is that it does take a little bit longer than if it was to be repaired in-house. Now, you turn around and say you can't repair that in-house. Well, technically you could, because as long as none of the front end structure is damaged, it's all fiberglass to replace. And fiberglassing isn't overly difficult. It's very messy, but it's not overly difficult. Then it comes to replacing the windscreens. Again, it's not overly difficult. It's something that we've done in buses before, and as long as nothing's been distorted and pushed out of the way, we could do it again. Indirectly though, she was rather a lucky bus, because behind those front panels and just inside those 2 cabinet doors down there in the dashboard are electrical goodies, and you certainly don't want those getting damaged, and you don't want them to be damaged by water ingress either. So any repairs that are done must be watertight and must be really good. And as you look at the dashboard, you can see that it's not been pushed back or pushed out of alignment. So that's another good thing, that the impact, although it split the fiberglass at the front, that fiberglass took all of the impact, and it's not really moved the front of the bus in that much, if at all. Now, if you've come across my Bristol VR WKO137S, that used to be based at Gillingham Garage with Maidstone and District. Now Gillingham is situated on a little bit of a hill, and apparently the kids would get into the garage and release the handbrakes of the buses when they were parked up, so the buses would roll into each other and they would suffer very similar damage to 309. In fact, this is quite a common occurrence in garages, accidents like this where buses are reversed into each other or driven into the back of other buses, low speed collision damage. And whilst the damage looks bad, it's not horrendous. And indeed, for WKO 137S, she's still around and she's still with us, even though the front end is a little bit looser than it is on all my other Bristol VRs, and she does chatter a bit as we drive along the road. But even that front damaged panel isn't overly complicated, as it is intended for it to be removed and come off. And you've got to remember, there are quite a few of these pointers at the moment heading to scrapyards, so the parts on them are still fairly readily available. The most complicated part on this, I should imagine, would be that front end there, where the spindle is broken. It's a case of removing that nut there and also taking this one off and pulling it out from inside. Now, I have to admit, I don't know a huge amount about the structure of the pointer dart, whether there's a massive great big metal beam sitting behind this fiberglass. If so, that potentially could need replacing. But when I'm looking at it now, it doesn't seem to have been pushed in too much. It's still got the right shape to the front of the bus. Now obviously this bit here has been pushed in, but without stripping it down, you just never tell what's underneath it and how badly it's been damaged. And you can see by all the paint flakes here and the way the paint's popped out, as well as here and the cracks here, that this whole panel has flexed with the impact. But again, it doesn't seem too badly deformed. There's a few more cracks down this way. So idealistically, I suppose you could replace this whole unit if possible, but it does seem to be a one piece that's connected to the windscreen. But I'm sure you can get just this front headlight surround. Now, it sounds really rather nasty if I say it's fortunate that the vehicle didn't reverse into Perky, as Perky's my bus and the little dart belongs to my friend Stuart. But I don't mean it to come out like that. The fact is that Perky is a lot older, 52 years old, and has a front mounted radiator. So it would be an awful lot harder to find parts to repair her. And also with the damage to the radiator, it could put her off the road for a much longer time, and it would be a lot more expensive for the insurance to sort out. So why then have I popped up on your YouTube feed to tell you all about this? Well, two reasons really. Firstly, if you own a bus and it does have an accident, and sometimes the reality of owning vehicles is that this does happen, as you can see by 309. Don't be too despondent and don't be prepared to write it off. Things can be repaired. Buses do have accidents like this, and they go back into service all the time. But also, there's a word of caution here as well, because sometimes, especially if this was a very old vehicle, the insurance company might be along the lines of thinking, it's more value than the vehicle's worth to repair it, we'll write it off. And if you absolutely love your vehicle and it's a one of a kind, you wouldn't want that. So I believe there is an option where you can actually buy the vehicle back in the damaged state from the insurance company, and then you can repair it yourself, which is an option that is worth considering. Things always tend to look a lot worse than they actually are. Once you strip it all down, underneath it's normally just metal framework and fiberglass over the top. It's not like a car, it's a lot more straightforward. So if something does happen to your pride and joy, don't be despondent, don't worry too much. As long as nobody's hurt, nobody's killed, nobody's injured, you can't replace people, you can always patch up a bit of fiberglass. That's the important thing to remember, isn't it? We all know that finding storage for our vintage buses is incredibly hard,
and as a result they have to be shoehorned in all sorts of weird and wonderful places. Barns that don't have lighting, barns with uneven floors, and so on and so on. Some of us do have the luxury of a rather nice museum where there's plenty of space around the vehicle. But in other cases, we're not so lucky and we have to shoehorn buses in. And if you're coming back in the winter from a run out and it's pitch black and you're trying to reverse the bus in, again, this sort of thing can and does happen. So if you don't see 309 out for a while on the road or in YouTube videos, that's why. She is going to get fixed. Don't worry about her. She's perfectly safe and she's still loved. And while it's never nice to see any vehicle smashed up, I just don't get banger racing, do you? If you get banger racing, please explain it to me. I know they say it's about vehicles going out on a final glory, but I don't get it. I don't like smashing things up. I like to preserve and restore. Just explain banger racing to me. Is there anybody out there that likes banger racing? Well, there's obviously lots of people that like banger racing, but anybody watching this that likes banger racing? Explain it. I'm not knocking it. I just want to know the whole ins and outs of it, the thought process behind it. But anyway, I digressed once again. It's never nice seeing beautiful vehicles being smashed up and broken and damaged and things like that, but it is a fact of life and things can be repaired. So if it does happen to you, don't worry too much. It's normally relatively fixable. It's more of an inconvenience than anything else. I hope this has proved a valuable insight for those of you who own buses, just started out on the road in bus preservation and are looking around and thinking, well, what happens if this goes wrong? Bodywork is never normally too much of a problem. It's when mechanical things go wrong, that's when you've got to start worrying. Buses are large, repairs happen all the time on service buses, and it tends to make them look more authentic. I use that term loosely, but those of you who work in the bus industry will understand what I mean. When preserved buses have accident damage on them, it doesn't look 100% good, but at the same time, it's authentic, which is sometimes more important than anything else. And as I said in a previous video, these, without sounding obvious, are big vehicles, and badly done repairs or different coloured paintwork and where they're patched up can be lost sometimes by the full size of the bus. They're totally different to cars in that respect. A car, if you repair it, or a car if you damage it, it can be end of the road quite literally, because a lot of the work on a car, a lot of the bodywork on a car is structural. On a bus, not quite so much, and you can get away with a lot more. So don't worry. I hope you enjoyed this video despite the content of it, but it's just done to show you that sometimes things don't always go to plan in bus preservation. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure you hit the like, the hype, and you subscribe to the channel. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye for now. Whoops, you would have seen that it's a low floor SLF Dart. Cut. Well, that needed to come off anyway, in all fairness. And as I said before in a previous video, these are big vehicles, and accident damage and bad repairs can sometimes be hidden by the forward. Oh dear. Oh dear. Right, take that now, out that comes. Oh.